This is my client Gus, and this is his long list of training challenges that was completely overwhelming his guardians. If your dog has a lot of behavior or training issues, one of the hardest parts can be figuring out where to even begin. What should you tackle first, and does the order really matter? As a professional dog trainer, I absolutely believe that it does. Starting with the right foundations makes everything that you teach afterwards so much easier and less frustrating for both you and your dog. When you're staring down a big, overwhelming list of training goals, having a clear starting point can also make the process feel that much more manageable. In Gus's video series, I'll be sharing everything that we worked on during our 2 weeks of training together. But today, in this video, I want to focus on 4 of the things that I introduced right on day 1. I recommend these 4 to nearly all of my clients as a starting point because they make all future trainings smoother, faster, and far more effective. Let's dive into what those 4 things are and why they matter so much. First, test your dog's treat value ladder. As a rewards-based trainer, I frequently use high-value training treats to reinforce desirable behaviors because what gets rewarded gets repeated. But with Gus, this was a bit more complicated. He has a very sensitive stomach and he tends to vomit if he overeats. So how was I supposed to use treats in our training sessions without making him sick? We'll get to my solution for that in a moment, but first, let's talk about why treat value matters so much. Not all treats are equal in your dog's eyes. Just like you would be more motivated to work for $100 an hour rather than $10, your dog will work harder for a reward that they consider to be higher value. But unlike money, food preferences vary. After working with lots of clients, I can confidently say that every dog has different favorite foods. Some lose their minds for beef, while others prefer salmon or pork. So I needed to figure out what Gus's so-called $100 treat was, and I highly recommend that you do the same with your dog. Luckily, this is simple to test. Just offer 2 or 3 different treats at the same time and watch which one your dog picks first. If you're wondering how this tests treat value, just think of offering your dog beef and lettuce at the same time. Intuitively, you know that your dog is going to choose that beef first. It's obviously higher value. We're just using that same premise to now test foods that we're less confident in what the dog will prefer. When you apply this same test to different training treats, your dog will show you what they value most by what they go for first. And a quick tip is if your dog alternates which one they choose first between the 2 options, it likely means that they value them about the same and you can use them interchangeably in training. Now ideally, I like to run this test by placing a few different options on a platter and then releasing the dog to eat them and watching which one they pick first.
Okay.
But let's be honest, most of my clients' dogs do not have that level of impulse control yet. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to this clip of Gus.
Wait.
So instead, I have the dog sniff each hand, and then I present the treats and I note which one they chose. My typical suggestion for dog training sessions is to bring 2 kinds of treats, something high value that you'll use most of the time, and a small amount of something very high value for particularly hard skills or those moments that your dog is really struggling.
So this intersection is usually really hard for him. I want to show you. Hey, Louie. 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 Hey, bud. Louie.
And if your dog's name recognition or attention out on walks is this bad, then stay tuned for tip 3 because I'm going to tell you how to change that.
We'll ditch these treats. Louie. Bud. What's this?
As you can see, just changing that treat value results in a night and day difference in how much attention he gives me.
Good.
However, I knew that this 2-treat system wouldn't work for Gus due to his sensitive stomach. If he got a bunch of treats during our 1-hour training session, I would just make him sick. I still wanted to reward him with something very high value to make the most progress in our short time together, so what should I do? The solution that I came up with was to use his regular breakfast kibble as the base and then add a small amount of his highest value meat to flavor coat that kibble and make it more exciting. Training treats can be really expensive, so this is also a great suggestion if you just want to save a bit of money. To figure out which meat he liked the most, I tested a few options side by side and I watched which one he consistently chose. I strongly encourage you to find your dog's $100 treat and then watch your training results improve. If you're enjoying this video, I would be so grateful if you hit like and left a comment letting me know. Your feedback really encourages me to keep putting time into new content. And 2 is load a marker word. Dogs build associations within seconds, but it often takes us longer than that just to fumble for a treat and get it into their mouth. I mentioned earlier that what gets rewarded gets repeated, but that's only true if your dog actually understands exactly what they got the reward for. If there's a delay between the behavior and the reward, that association isn't as clear. But when the behavior and the reward are tightly linked, the message becomes much more clear, and that clarity means faster training and better results. That's why I personally never train a dog without a marker word. Once it's loaded, a marker word acts as an immediate promise of reward. It's much faster to say a short word like yes than it is to reach for and offer a treat. When you use your marker word at the precise second that your dog does something right, it helps them lock in that behavior that you want, and it makes it much more likely that they'll repeat it again for another reward. Loading a marker word is really simple. You just need to build an association that yes means a reward is coming. Here's how you do it. First, grab a small handful of treats, but don't show them to your dog. Second, say your marker word. And third, immediately afterwards, give your dog a treat. Easy, right? You're just teaching your dog that hearing yes means a reward is on its way. I typically recommend repeating that 10 to 15 times a day for 2 to 3 days. You'll know that the marker word is loaded when you say yes without any food in sight and your dog perks up or they look at you expectantly. Bonus points if they lick their lips.
Yes!
Once you start using your marker word in training, just make sure to always follow it with a reward. You're buying yourself time, you're not replacing the treat. And 3, improve engagement and name response. Every dog is different and they do need a personalized training plan, but there's one game that I teach to almost every single client. It teaches your dog to pay attention to you outside, to immediately respond to their name, and at the advanced level, to come back to you without any cueing at all. This will boost your results with other skills and behaviors such as recall, leash walking, and even reactivity training. It's also a fun, simple way to burn off your dog's excess energy and build your bond. I recommend starting this game in a low distraction space, such as your yard, an empty field, or even a quiet parking lot. Once your dog has the hang of it, you can also use this mid-walk if they start to lose focus and you want to rebuild their engagement. To play, you'll just need a handful of small treats and a loaded marker word. If you are playing somewhere that isn't fenced in, I also recommend using a long leash for safety. Step 1 is cueing your dog to come back to you. Start by placing 2 or 3 treats on the ground for your dog to sniff and eat while you move a small distance away.
Take 2 pieces. Start with the first.
As soon as they finish those treats and look up, call their name. As they move towards you, say your marker word to let them know that they're doing the right thing and that a reward is coming. Give your dog a treat from your hand when they arrive, and then drop a few more treats on the ground and move away again. You're going to repeat this many times. And a quick tip is to make sure that you're not using those treats to bribe your dog to come back to you. You want your dog to come back without seeing the treat first.
Yes! Kit?
When your dog starts running back to you before you even call their name, that's your sign to move to step 2. Step 2 is to phase out the name cueing. You're still going to drop treats on the ground, but this time don't call their name.
Yes.
Instead, just wait for your dog to come over to you on their own. When they do, mark and reward. This is where the real magic happens. Your dog is rehearsing coming back to you without being called. You're building a strong reinforcement history of your dog checking in and returning to you as their default behavior without even being asked to. This has a huge impact on how much attention your dog is going to offer you outside, which makes all training easier, especially leash skills. And because you built such a strong name response in step 1, it'll be much easier to get your dog's attention if you need it. If you want to learn how I incorporate this game into my entire leash training method, I encourage you to check out the guide that's linked in the video description and the pinned comment. It explains everything that you need to know to stop pulling on leash, and it's broken down into 6 highly manageable weeks of training. And 4, start training the leave it cue. In my opinion, leave it is one of the most important cues that you can teach your dog, and I highly recommend that you start training it as early as possible. Depending on what your dog is going after, a well-trained leave it cue can literally save their life. At its core, leave it means don't go after that thing that you're interested in. Once it's trained, you'll be able to verbally ask your dog to disengage from animals,
Yes.
food,
Nira, leave it.
and all kinds of dangerous or just gross sidewalk distractions. If your dog doesn't have a rock-solid leave it cue yet, I highly recommend making this a training priority. Gus really struggled with distractions on walks, especially scent tracking and animal chasing, and he frequently stole food at home. Leave it was a skill that we absolutely had to build, and fast. Later in this video series, I'm going to show you exactly how I taught Gus to go from zero impulse control to a dog that could disengage from animal chasing.
Yes! So you can see that bird flying away.
And ignore distracting scents on walks.
Yes!
So if you don't want to miss that, make sure that you hit subscribe and you turn on notifications.
Yes. Good boy.
I'm going to link Gus's entire video series down in the video description, but if you want to get started on Leave It training right away, then I suggest you watch one of these 2 tutorials next. In this video with my client Kiki, I show you step by step how to train a Leave It cue and what common training mistakes to avoid. And in this tutorial, I show you how I use that trained Leave It cue to stop a dog from chasing animals.
Leave it.
Happy training! I'll see you in the next video.